we have started how to draw the timing diagram for the given instructions. Okay. So can you able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First, let me summarize the previous topic. So to draw the timing diagram, we should know the operation of the particular instruction first. Okay. And then in the timing diagram, we have to show the status of AD0 to AD7 lines and A8 to A15 informations and address latch enable informations and whether it is input output or memory operation information, selection line, sorry, status of the microprocessor with the help of this S1 S0, okay, status signal, and then control signal, whether it is read operation or write operation. Okay, so this much of information we have to specify in the timing diagram. Okay, to execute one instruction, how many T state the microprocessor will take? It depends on the what kind of instruction that we are executing. Okay, so usually the instruction execution cycle uh, may have opcode fetch first machine cycle called as opcode fetch cycle. Okay, or instruction fetch cycle. Both are same. Opcode fetch or instruction fetch cycle. And then with the nature of this particular instruction, this instruction execution cycle may involve opcode fetch only, or sometimes memory read, or sometimes memory write, or IO read, or IO write, and whatever it may be. Okay, so it depends on what kind of instruction we are executing. So in general, one instruction execution cycle may have one opcode fetch, one machine cycle, plus more than one machine cycles, more than one machine cycle. Okay, so what do you mean by machine cycle? So this machine cycle represents opcode fetch is a machine cycle, memory read is a machine cycle, memory write is a machine cycle, or IO read is a machine cycle, or IO write. Okay, so this operation called as machine cycle. So this is what we discussed in the previous class. For opcode fetch, minimum 4 clock pulse needed for the microprocessor for 1 byte instruction, that is 8-bit related operations. For 1 byte instruction, 16-bit related operation, then microprocessor need 6 T state. Say for example, DCH or INX. Okay, DCH or DCXB. DCXB. This is 1 byte instruction. It's only opcode directly from the opcode sheet. But this is related with 16-bit register pair operation. DCXB meaning the BC register content -1. The result stored in the BC register pair. So this is also 1 byte instruction only, but 16-bit related operation. So for that, the processor need minimum of 6 T state to fetch the opcode and complete this particular function. Okay. Example for 4 T state, we can say move A comma B. The data stored in the register B has to move to register E. So this is a 1 byte instruction. Okay, only one opcode we need to store in the particular memory. For that, 4 T state required. For memory read operations, the microprocessor need minimum 3 states. For memory write, 3 T state. That is 3 clock pulse. IO read also 3 T states. IO write also 3 states. So depending on the instructions, we have to draw the timing diagram and we have to decide how many machine cycle involving and how many T states is required by each and every machine cycles. Okay. So this is a revision about the opcode fetch. Opcode fetch or fetching the instruction from the memory. During the T1 state, your address latch enable equal to high. That time AD0 to AD7 used for pointing out the lower order address of the memory. A8 to A15 dedicated for higher order address. Okay. During T2 to T3, your read bar signal must be enabled. By making 0 on this line, your read bar signal is enabled. So that time this AD0 to AD7 can act as the data bus D7 to D7. So in that particular address location, whatever opcode is saved, that opcode will be placed on this AD0 to AD7. Okay. And during T4 state, this opcode placed on the instruction registers and then instruction decoder decode what kind of instruction it is. Okay. To show the status, whether it is IO related operation or memory related operation, we have to mention IO slash M bar. If IO slash M bar equal to 0, this indicate memory related operation, reading the or fetching the opcode from the memory. S1 1, S0 0. This represents opcode fetch. Suppose 1 byte instruction only, but 16-bit related operations. Let us assume how to draw the timing diagram for DCXB. Assume the opcode for this DCXBC is 0B. Assume that the 0B opcode hexadecimal code stored in the address location 2003. First 4 T state similar, same opcode fetch, but the processor will take 2 more extra T state to complete this particular functions. Okay. During T1, your ALE equal to 1. So AD0 to AD7 hold the lower order address of the memory. A8 to A15 hold the higher order address of the memory. During T2 to T3, your read bus operation is enabled. So AD0 to AD7 hold the opcode that is 0B. Okay, and then T4 decoding T5, T6. So T4, T5, T6. So processor need minimum 3 state to decode this particular instruction and complete this particular function. Okay, so please remember 4 T state and also 6 T state the processor will take to execute the opcode fetch depending on what kind of instruction. Usually 1 byte instruction. If the instructions are 1 byte instruction, then only opcode fetch is sufficient. Move A comma B or logical AND operation with some between registers and accumulator and so on. This is 1 byte instruction. So this is an example for move A comma B. 1 byte instruction, but 8-bit related operations. So 4 T states sufficient. DCXB, the opcode is 0B. This is also 1 byte instruction, but the operation related with the 16-bit register path. So we need minimum of 6 T state. And then we discussed memory read operations. Only 3 state is required. During T1, ALE high, lower order address, higher order address. During T2 to T3, read bar is enabled. So the data read from the memory. The address location pointed out by AD0 to AD7 during T1 state, A8 to A15 higher order address. Okay. So here we mentioned this dotted line because we need some time to read the data from the memory. So this is access time representation. For write operation similarly, but write bar signal we have to activate during T2 to T3. While writing the data are available internally in the register directly. So we can start from here itself. We can start from here itself for writing the data into the memory. Okay. Or if you mention in this way also, no issue. So memory read, memory write. Only 3 states. IO read, IO write is similar to memory read, memory write, except this particular, this one. IO slash M bar must be 1. IO slash M bar must be 1. Okay. And remember that 1 0, S1 1, S not 0, 1 0 for memory read operations, 0 1 for write operation. IO read also 1 0 for read operation, 0 1 indicate write operations. Okay. This all the example we discussed in the previous class, and followed by how to draw the timing diagram for STA instruction. Draw the timing diagram for STA 5 to 6. One example directly given. Okay, STA 5 to 6. Assume that we have started storing the information, that is opcode, from the address location 41F. So STA some 16-bit address 32 is the opcode from the opcode sheet of 8085 microprocessor. Then the 6CA saved in the next immediate address location. 52 must be saved in the next immediate address location. Okay. Now if you execute this particular instruction, so what happens internally inside the microprocessor? Okay. First microprocessor fetch the opcode, that is the 32 hexadecimal code from this particular address location. Okay. So that is called as opcode fetch. So I hope you are familiarized with this opcode fetch. During T1 state, ALE high, this AD0 to AD7 hold this lower order 8-bit address FF. And this 41 A8 to A15 higher order address bus indicate or hold this higher order 8-bit address, right? Then T2 to T3, the read bar signal is activated. During that particular time, the opcode 3T placed on this AD0 to AD7. So T4 state is unspecified. During this T4 state, processor interpret what kind of instruction it is by reading this 32. So 32 is corresponding to 0011 0010. So processor will read this binary information, and then the processor understood that the instruction represent the accumulated data must be saved in the address location, in the 16-bit address location. The processor understand that 16-bit address information available in the next two consecutive memory locations. So now reading this lower order address information from this location and reading the higher order address information from this location. This is similar to your memory read operations. So memory read operation, we need three T state, T5, T6, T7 for this one. For reading the 5 from the memory, again we need 3 clock pulse. Okay. So already we discussed how to draw the timing diagram. During the T1 state of memory read, ALE again high. So this hold the lower order address 00. And A8 to A15 hold the higher order address 42. And during T7 to T8, that is for this machine cycle, this is T2, this is T3 state. So your read bar signal will be activated. So the 6CA information placed on this data bus. Okay. And next machine cycle, again ALE will be high. So this 01 placed on this AD0 to AD7. Okay. Then next 2 clock pulse, your read bar signal will be activated. So the 5 to information will be placed on your data bus. Okay. So up to this, opcode fetch, reading the lower order address information from the memory, reading the higher order address information from the memory. So memory read, memory read. Then finally, the processor will store the accumulated data in the address location 5 to 6A. So this is similar to your write operation, that is storing the data, accumulated data inside the microprocessor memory in the particular address location. So this is memory write operations. So memory write operation require another 3 T state. So during this first T state, again ALE must be high. So now what is the address location? 5 to 6CA. The 6CA will be placed in this AD0 to AD7 and 5 2 will be placed on this A8 to A15. Okay. Let's say for example, assume our accumulator content is C7H. Our accumulator content is C7H. During this T2, T3 state, your write operation must be enabled. Your write operation must be enabled. That time, the AD0 to AD7 hold this accumulator content C7. Okay. So when the write bar is enabled and the address lines AD0 to AD7 point out this particular 16-bit address, then the microprocessor write this particular information in this address locations. Okay. So to draw the timing diagram for STA instruction, you must understand the instruction clearly first. Fetch, memory read, and then additional 3 T states for memory write operations. Then you have to activate the corresponding control signals, whether it is read operation or write operation. Okay. So 1 1 indicate opcode fetch, 0 1 indicate memory read, 0 1 indicate memory read, 1 0 indicate memory write. That is S0 S1. Sorry, S1 S0 actually. And they written the reverse case. Okay, no problem. Here it is S0 S1. So we need to mention how many clock pulse is required and AD0 to AD7 information, A8 to A15 information, ALE, read bar, write bar, IO/M bar, S1 S0 during each and every machine cycle. Here the opcode fetch called is one machine cycle. Memory read is another machine cycle. Memory write is memory read another machine cycle. So in this example, to execute this particular instruction, instruction execution cycle involve how many machine cycle? 1, 2, 3, 4. Total 4 machine cycles required. 1 opcode fetch, 2 memory read, and 1 memory write. 4 machine cycle. Number of T state 4 plus 3 7, 7 plus 3 10, 10 plus 3 13. 13 T state is required. Okay. So if you want to calculate time, how much time the processor will take to execute this particular instruction, T equal to 1 by F, we know already. So 1 by 3 megahertz. Okay, 1 by 3 megahertz. That is 3 into 10 power 6. So if you calculate this T value and multiply with this 13, then we will find out how much time the processor will spend to execute this particular instruction. Okay. So in the similar way, you have to interpret the operation of each and every instructions. So today I'll post the first assignment in the microprocessor regarding the timing diagram. So I'll give some instructions. You try to draw the timing diagram for the particular instruction with suitable example. Okay. So this is what we discussed in the previous classes. So if you have any doubt up to this particular topic, so we have completed the operations and different types of instructions already in the classroom. So we must clear with the meaning of each and every instruction first. So this is how many byte instruction? Can anybody tell? STA 526A. This is how many byte instruction? Please respond.
3.
3 byte instruction. Okay, because to execute this particular instruction, we need to store these 3 bytes of data in the consecutive memory locations. This 32 is the opcode, and the remaining 2 bytes are indicating the 16-bit address. So this is 3 byte instructions. Okay. So are you clear with the concept? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Refer my previous video lectures. And I'll give the material for your exam preparation. Don't worry. But the classroom lecture is very important for you to understand clearly. Okay? Once you go through my video lectures and then you start study from the textbook. If you go to the textbook directly, it's very difficult to understand. Right. So next topic, interrupts in microprocessor, particularly 8085 microprocessor. Interrupt. Interrupts in 8085 microprocessor and the instructions related with the interrupts. Yes, while I was teaching in the instruction set, I told you the enable interrupt, disable interrupt, rim instruction, sim instruction. These four instructions related with interrupt handling. So we will discuss the functions of those four in uh, interrupt related instruction also. Okay. So interrupts in 8085 microprocessor. So while studying the pin diagram of 8085 microprocessor, we came to know that the microprocessor support five hardware interrupt. Five hardware interrupt. What are those interrupt? RAP, RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 5.5, and then INTR. Okay, there are five hardware interrupts. In response to INTR interrupt, the microprocessor will send the acknowledgement signal, that is INTA complement. This is an acknowledgement signal corresponding to the interrupt INTR. Okay, so these are the five hardware interrupt. So apart from these five hardware interrupt, then microprocessor support some software interrupts. Some software interrupts. By writing this particular uh, instruction in the program, so we can interrupt the microprocessor. By writing RST0 in the program, then the microprocessor transfer the instruction execution flow to the particular address location. Actually, this is 00. The higher order all are 00. So here I have not mentioned the higher order. All are 00. Okay, here also. So the higher order 8-bit 00 not mentioned. Okay, so whenever we are executing RST0 software interrupt, the microprocessor start executing the opcode from the location 0000. Whenever if we execute RST1 instruction, the processor transfer the execution flow from the address location 0008. So whatever the opcode or information stored from 08 location, then processor will start execute. Okay, and so on. So 5 hardware interrupt and 0 to 7, 8 software interrupts. Okay. So these vector address location you can calculate by multiplying this number. Multiplying this number by 8 with 8. Okay, then you will get some decimal number. Then convert that decimal number into hexadecimal. Okay. Say for example 2. 2 times of 8, 16. Okay. 2 times of 8, 16. So 1 dot, 16. 1 dot 16, 16, remaining 0. So 1 0 H. Okay. So like that, the number RSTN, that n multiplied with 8, you will get a decimal number. Convert the decimal number into hexadecimal, then you will get vector address of this RST instructions. Okay. So 5 hardware interrupt and 8 software interrupts. In the 5 hardware interrupt, that is trap, RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 7.5. So these interrupt called as vectored interrupt, meaning, so whenever this particular interrupt is occurred, the microprocessor transfer the instruction execution flow to the corresponding address locations. This is fixed. Whenever trap is activated, the processor will start execute the information which is available from 0024 location onwards. Okay, so whenever RST 5.5 instruction is executed, then processor transfer the program flow to the address location 2C. For 6.5, 34. For 7.5, 3. It has a fixed address location. So this is called as vectored interrupt. So non-vectored interrupt is INTR. INTR is a non-vectored interrupt. Okay. So these are basic informations. How many interrupts are the microprocessor supporting, and what are the names of the interrupt. And apart from these 5 hardware interrupts, software interrupts also available. So what will happen if we execute this particular instruction during the program, and what is the fixed address location of the each and every interrupts. Next, so look at this particular structure. See, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 trap. Okay, so this symbol indicate whether this RST 7.5 is edge triggered or level triggered. Okay, if this arrow mark indicate this is edge triggered. So whenever 0, 1 transition are there, this RST 7.5 will be activated. So RST 6.5 is level triggered. During logic high, the RST 6.5 activated. In that particular corresponding pin, if the logic is high, the RST 6.5 will be activated. RST 5.5 also level triggered. Trap is both level triggered as well as edge triggered. Okay. Trap is both level triggered as well as edge triggered. Whenever 0 to 1 transition is at that time also trap activated, or during the logic high state also the trap is activated. And INTR is the level triggered. INTR is the level triggered. Okay, right. Next, so how to enable and disable this particular instruction? So trap is non-maskable interrupt. Okay, trap is non-maskable. We cannot disable this particular interrupt. Okay, it is always on only. So this trap interrupt usually the processor utilized for the emergency purpose, like power shutdown or some other uh, related issues only. The trap interrupts will be used. This is non-maskable. So apart from this, all other instruction RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, INTR, all are maskable interrupt. Maskable meaning the programmer can disable the particular interrupt while writing the some programs. Okay, so that is called as disable interrupt, DI. When DI is disable interrupt execution is sorry, instruction is executed. So this interrupt enable flip flops will be reset. That is Q equal to 0. So this 0, 0, 0, here also 0. So AND gate output, if any one input is 0, the AND gate output is 0. Okay. So RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, INTR, all the interrupts are masked, disabled. Okay. So except trap interrupt, we can disable all other interrupt by executing the instruction called as disable interrupt. Okay. Similarly, we have one more instruction that is called as enable interrupt. That is called as enable interrupt. EI. So when we execute the enable interrupt, so we are enable all the interrupt. We are enabling all the interrupt. See, enable. If this particular pin is high, it set the flip flop. Okay, so this interrupt enabled flip flops then control all the interrupts except the trap. Okay, this interrupt enable flip flop plays a very important role. Okay. If you make enable interrupt high, the Q1 will be high. So this one high and high, this is high and this is high. So we are enabling all the interrupt. So after enabling all the interrupt, suppose if you want disable a particular interrupt structure. Enable interrupt, enable all the interrupt. But if you want to mask some particular interrupt, then we can use this mask bit. Okay. If this is high, suppose I enabled all the interrupt. RSC 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, INTR. INTR interrupt can be disabled by reset instruction, resetting the microprocessor. By resetting the microprocessor, this INTR interrupt will be disabled. Okay. Um, to to disable 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 individually, so this mask bit will be used. Okay. Say for example, I want to disable RST 7.5 only. So make this particular line as 1. 1, 1 complement 0. If any one input is 0, the output will be 0. Okay. Suppose if I want to mask only 6.5, RST 6.5 instruction, then make this particular line as 1. Then this output will be 0. Okay. Similarly for 5. So please remember, disable interrupt, disable all the interrupt. Disable interrupt, disable all the interrupt external except trap. Okay, except trap. Trap is non-maskable. Enable interrupt, enable all the interrupt, but programmer can mask a particular interrupt individually with the help of this mask bit. The help of this mask bit. Okay. The interrupt enable flip-flops control all the interrupts except this trap. By setting this interrupt enable flip-flop, all the interrupt will be activated. By resetting the interrupt enable flip-flop, all the interrupt will be disabled. The interrupt INTR interrupt can be disabled by reset the microprocessor. Okay. So any doubt in the basics of interrupt structure in microprocessor? This is the overview of interrupt structure in 8085 microprocessor. Any doubt in this particular slide?
Sir, what is the use of D flip-flop, sir, at RST 7.5?
Okay. So this is edge triggered. Okay. So when whichever interrupt having this edge triggered type, so we need one interrupt controlled flip-flop over there. Okay. If it is level triggered, meaning trap is non-maskable, so there is no issue. But out of this RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, RST 7.5 is sensitive for the edge triggering. So we need one flip-flop. The remaining 6.5, 5.5, we do not require any extra flip-flop to control this particular interrupt. Okay, understand now?
Yes, sir.
Interrupt enable flip-flop control all the interrupts. Okay. Out of 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, or is 7.5 having one internal D flip-flop? Because this is edge triggered type, so we need to store the informations. Okay. If it is 1, meaning the Q1 will be 1. If enable is 1, then this also will be 1. So 1, 1, the particular RSC 7.5 will be activated. If mask bit is 0. If you want to disable RSC 7.5 only, then M 7.5 must be logic high. Then we can disable this particular interrupt. Okay, right. So we discussed this trap RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5. So these are all vectored interrupt. So whenever this particular interrupt is executed, the program execution flow will transfer to the fixed memory locations. Okay. So apart from the software interrupts available, this INTR interrupt sent by the external interrupt, whenever the microprocessor receives this INTR interrupt, then processor send the acknowledgement signal, that is INTA complement. Okay. This INTA acknowledgement sent by the microprocessor in order to acknowledge the interrupt received through this particular pin. Okay. After this INTA complement signal sent by the microprocessor, then the external hardware send the address location from where the microprocessor start execute the instructions for INTR instruction. See, in this interrupt sector, trap RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 having the fixed vector location. Okay. The interrupt service routine for trap starting from 24H. The interrupt service routine for 5.5 start from 2C and so on. But for INTR, the external hardware send the address location of the interrupt service routine. What do you mean by interrupt service routine? It's a small set of instruction written in the particular memory locations. The starting address of the particular interrupt service routine is mentioned here. So, but for INTR, the external hardware send the address locations. So there are two types of address available. Sometimes the external hardware may uses these RST instructions. So if it is issued from RST instruction, we can easily calculate, the processor will easily calculate the vector address location. Say for example, in response to INTA acknowledgement, RST code from external hardware. Suppose RST 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the external hardware may issues these interrupt. Then processor automatically calculate the address location by multiplying this RSTN, this value with 8. You will get decimal value. The decimal value converted into hexadecimal. Then processor will start execute the corresponding address location onwards. This is one way. Another way, the external hardware send the address location directly. So that time the call instruction will be executed. Okay. So INTR, if the microprocessor start proceed this INTR interrupt, either it utilize RST instruction or call instruction. Call instruction meaning apart from this RST 0 to RST 7.5, if the memory location of the particular interrupt service routine sent by the external hardware, then program flow transfer to the particular address locations. Okay. So it's interrupt is a bit complicated topic in the microprocessor. So you have to be clear with this. It's just an introduction slide, okay? That's right. So first one, first classification, vectored interrupt. RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 5.5, and trap. These are the vectored interrupt. Because whenever this particular interrupt is received by the microprocessor transfer the program execution flow to a particular memory location. That memory location we discussed in the previous slide. So non-vectored interrupt. So non-vectored interrupt INTR. Okay. So whenever the INTR interrupt is sent by the external hardware, then processor send the acknowledgement signal INTA bar to the external hardware, and then the external hardware send the interrupt service routine address locations, either by using the RSTN instruction or directly it will place the 16-bit address. This is non-vectored interrupt. So address location of the interrupt service routine sent by the external hardware. Okay. So this is one classifications. And another classification, maskable and non-maskable. Maskable interrupt. Okay. So RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 5.5. Okay. So these are all maskable interrupt. So we can disable this instruction with the help of DI instruction. If you execute DI is a 1 byte instruction. If you execute this DI instruction, all this interrupt will be disabled. Okay. Non-maskable interrupt. Trap. Even though if you execute this disable interrupt, the trap cannot be interrupted. If you look at this interrupt structure, you can get the clear idea. See here, trap. There is no control here. Okay. We should not disable. That is, it's not a non-maskable. It is always on. The trap pin. So this is the second classification, maskable interrupt and non-maskable interrupt. And third category are classifications of the interrupt, hardware interrupt or software interrupt. Hardware interrupt or software interrupt. So hardware interrupts are this trap, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, INTR. These are all hardware interrupt. Software interrupt, RSTN. Okay, RSTN. In general, it is RST 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are all software interrupt. Okay, so basics of the interrupt. First, what do you mean by interrupt first? Previous class we have discussed. Interrupt or the signal generated by the external devices. Okay. The external devices requesting the microprocessor to perform certain task. So I use the word interrupt service routine, that is ISR. What do you mean by interrupt service routine? It is a small program. A small program, or we call as routine. Routine that when executed services to the corresponding interrupt. Servicing the corresponding interrupt. Okay. So for example, if the trap is executed, what is the vector address of trap? 24H. If the trap is executed, example, if the trap interrupt is received by the microprocessor, so microprocessor finish the currently executing instruction first and then stores the next immediate instructions address detail in the stack memory. Okay. Please understand, whenever the interrupt request received by the microprocessor finishes current execution, current instruction execution first. Okay, and then next instruction address location, next immediate instruction address location, that is the program counter. Next immediate instruction address location saved in the stack memory. Saved in the stack memory. And then the program flow go to the address location 24H for trap. For example, for trap 0024. In the 0024 location, the starting instruction. We don't know from 0024 to up to which address location the informations are. So this is the starting address of the interrupt service routine. Starting address of the interrupt service. The small programs is stored in this particular address location. The starting instruction of this interrupt service routine is 0024. And then it will execute. Once it is completed, then at last a return instruction will be available. So when the processor executes the return instruction, then the microprocessor fetch the address location saved in the stack memory. That is the next instruction address location must be saved in the stack memory before processing this trap request. So this address loaded in the program counter, then program processor will continue the normal operations. Okay. So understand clearly. So whenever the interrupt is occurred, the processor complete the current instruction execution first. And the next immediate instruction address location must be saved in the stack memory. And then the program flow transferred to the particular address location. It depends on what kind of interrupt request received by the microprocessor, whether it is trap or 5.5, 7.5, 6.5, or software interrupt, or the external hardware send the address location separately. Okay, then the microprocessor will transfer the particular program execution flow sent by the external hardware. Okay, but the operation is similar for all the interrupts. So once the interrupt service routine completed, the last line of the interrupt service routine must be the return instruction. So whenever the return instruction executed, then the processor will retrieve the address information from the stack memory and load it in the program counter. Then normal execution will begins. So this is the overall introduction about interrupt structure in 8085 microprocessor. So any doubt